Namaskar everybody and welcome to the 53rd day of our Ramayana Satsanga. Lakshminatha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yo Nityamachyuta Padam Bhujayugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadgurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेतसादासीद् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना. With prayers at the lotus feet of Acharya and Prabhu Sri Rama, let us go to our topic for today. So in yesterday's satsang, we had seen how Ravana was destroyed by the Brahmastra of Rama, and then Rama advises Vibhishana that he should perform the last rites for Ravana. Now, once the news reaches Lanka that Ravana has been killed, all the queens of Ravana, they come to the battlefield and they are lamenting and crying in their distress and sorrow. Out of all of them, Mandodari, who is the main queen of Ravana, she comes there and she starts describing all the great qualities of Ravana, and she thinks and she is wondering aloud. She says, "You were such a great person. You had so many powers. You had all the radiance of the world. You had so much capability, and you were so great. You were invincible in battle, and so on. How is it that a mere mortal, a mere human being, killed you like this?" And finally, she tells what is her analysis of why Ravana was killed in this manner. So she says, "Indriyani purajitva jitan tribhuvanam vaya samaradbhiriva tadvairam indriyaireva nirjitaha." In the past, you had performed a great penance, and by your tapas, you had conquered all your indriyas, all the senses. And because of that, because you were Jitendriya at that time, you had won over your senses, you were able to conquer the three worlds. Now, I think it is as if to take revenge on you out of that enmity, your senses only have conquered you. Why is she saying this? Because the very root of all this entire battle was when Ravana was carried away with the lust that he felt for Sita. So at that point, before, when he had conquered his senses, then he had conquered the world. But now, when he gave in to those senses, when he wanted to enjoy that sense pleasure and he got carried away with that, those senses only destroyed him finally. And not just this, Mandodari is further able to see the reality of Rama. And although she's saying that how is it that a human being killed you, when she looks at Rama standing there, she is able to visualize him as Sakshat Sriman Narayana himself. And she sings his praises. She says, "Vyaktamesha Mahayogi Paramatma Sanatanaha Anadi Madhya Nidhano Mahatah Paramo Mahan Tamasah Paramo Dhata Shankachakra Gadadharaha Shrivats Nityashrir Ajjaya Shashvato Dhruvaha Manusham Rupamastaya Vishnu Satya Parakramaha Sarvai Parivrito Devair Vanaratva Mupagataihi Sarvalokeshwara Shriman Lokanam Hitakamyaya Sarakshasa Parivaram Hatavamstvam Mahadyutihi." She's saying this Rama, he is a great tapasvi, he is a Mahayogi. He is the eternal person. He is Paramatma, he is Sanatanaha. He is not having any middle or end, and he is beyond Brahma. He is beyond ignorance. He is the one who nourishes this entire world. He is the one who is having Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and he is wearing the Srivatsa mark on his chest. He is the one who is having everlasting beauty. He cannot be conquered by anybody. He is the one who is Shashvata. He is the soul of the universe. He is the mighty Lord of all the worlds. He is the one who has prosperity. He is himself Vishnu. He is the one who is taking care of this world. He is the one who wants to always benefit other people. And this Vishnu, who has assumed a human form, and he is surrounded by the Devatas in the form of these Vanaras. It is this Rama, it is this Vishnu who incarnated as Rama, who has killed you, O Ravana, as you were surrounded by demons. So, like this, very clearly she is able to see that what Ravana could not see or what Ravana did not want to accept, Mandodari is able to see and accept with perfect clarity. She sees Rama not as a normal human being, but she sees him with his four arms, with the Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma in his hands, with all the radiance and with all the tejas, and she recognizes that he is none other than Lord Vishnu himself. That was the greatness of Mandodari. Now, what happens next is that Rama instructs that let these women be consoled, take care of them well. And then he tells Vibhishana that you have to now become the king. He tells Vibhishana to perform the last rites for Ravana. Those last rites are performed. Then he instructs that Vibhishana should be made the king of Lanka. And as per Rama's instruction, Lakshmana goes to the city of Lanka and installs this Vibhishana on the throne. If you remember already when Vibhishana came to him itself, Rama had done the Pattabhisheka for him as king of Lanka. But now that Ravana has been killed, in that actual Lanka on the throne where Ravana used to sit, Vibhishana is installed and his Pattabhisheka is performed by Lakshmana. Then, after this, Rama tells Hanuman that now that Vibhishana has been made the king, you please take his permission and you go to Sita and inform her about all these events. Go to Ashokavana, tell her that we have won over Ravana, that we are all safe and fine, and bring her to me. So Hanuman goes and he goes with this good news to Sita. When Sita sees him, she does not recognize, but then she notices that, okay, this is Hanuman. And then he gives her the good news. She has tears in her eyes. She's struck dumb. She has no words. She doesn't know what to say. Finally, she collects herself and she says that, oh, you brought such a good news. You're such a great person. You brought me this wonderful news. What is it that I can give you? I don't have anything with me to reward you. And then Hanuman says, there is nothing that I want. Your joy is all that I seek. But if you are feeling like that, then give me one permission. All these Rakshasis who are in Ashokavana, all these months, all this year, they have tortured you, they have troubled you, and they have, given you so much trouble. Now I want to make sure that I will kill them. They have behaved so badly with you. I want to I want to punish them very badly. I will kill them by torturing them the way they tortured you. And at that point, Sita tells Hanuman that that is not the right attitude to have. She says, Papanam va shubhanam va vadarhanam plavangama karyam karunamaryena nakaschin naparadhyati. Kindness should be shown. Somebody who is a noble person should always be kind to others, irrespective of whether they are sinner, whether they have done bad, or they are virtuous people who have done good. Even to somebody who actually deserves death, the noble person should be kind, because in this world there is never anybody who has not done any wrong. Like that, Sita says, I have forgiven these Rakshasis. Yesterday they were being told to torture me by Ravana, and therefore they were obeying their king's orders. Today Vibhishana is the king. He is going to tell them to be good to me. They will be good to me. They are just following orders of the king. How can I have any feeling of hatred towards them? They are just following the king's orders. And then she tells one story to Hanuman. She says, once there was a forest, and one man, by mistake, he got stuck up in that forest and he suddenly found a tiger chasing him. So he runs for his life and he climbs up onto a tree. And that tree was the house of a monkey. In some versions, they say it was the house of a bear also. We'll say monkey for now. So that monkey was sitting on the tree, and this man has rushed and climbed up there, and he's seeking protection from that monkey. That tiger, which came running behind him, waits at the bottom of the tree, thinking that at one point of time this man is bound to come down, so I will eat him at that time. Now, this monkey which was on the tree, it says to the man, "Don't worry, I will take care of you. You have come as my guest. You are my Atiti, so I will do whatever I can to protect you." Now, this was by late evening, and both of them sit on the tree, the monkey and the man, and the tiger is patiently waiting below. After some time, as it becomes dark, the man gets tired. So the monkey tells him that you go to sleep. Don't worry, I will be awake and I will make sure that you are safe here and you don't fall off the tree. Right? So when this happened, after some time that man was fast asleep, this tiger started talking to the monkey. And that tiger told the monkey that push that man down. What do you have common with him? You and I, we are animals in the forest. But what do you have in common with that man? You push him down. I will eat him and I will go away. Don't you have any responsibility towards me? I am another fellow animal in the forest. But the monkey said, "No, I will not betray the trust which I have given to this man. And I will not push him down. I have promised to take care of him." Like that, the monkey says. So the tiger is quietly still waiting. Now, after some time, what happens? The man becomes awake and he tells the monkey that, "Okay, I have slept for so much time. Now you go to sleep and I will be awake and I will make sure that nothing happens with the tiger." So now what happens? The monkey goes to sleep and the man is awake and watching. Now that tiger, it starts talking to the man and it tells the man that, "See, I am not actually bothered with you, but I'm just hungry. So if you send this monkey down, you push this monkey down when he's sleeping, I will eat the monkey and I will go away and you will be saved. I'm not particular about whom I eat. I just want to eat somebody to fill my stomach." So when he said that, this man with the typical selfish nature of human beings, what he did, he pushed that monkey down because he thought that if he gives up the monkey, he will be safe. Now, as the monkey was pushed down, it suddenly became awake. It realized that the man has pushed him down, but it hung on to a branch and it protected itself. So it did not reach until the tiger, and therefore the tiger could not eat the monkey. And then it climbed back and went and sat on another branch. Now, this tiger talked to the monkey and he said, "See, I told you that this man is very selfish. I had asked you that you should push him down, but you said, no, no, I will take care of him. I will give, promised him protection and so on. And you didn't want to do anything bad to him. But see how selfish he is. He is very much prepared to throw you down. He thought that he will protect himself by offering you to me. And he was ready to do even that. Although you gave him shelter, he didn't think even 1 minute about giving you up. He's so selfish. Why are you trying to still protect him? Even now, your time is not lost. You throw him down, and I will eat that man and go away." And yet, that monkey refused and said, "I will not act against dharma. I will not do this because it is adharma." Right? So, telling this story, Sita says that if that monkey, which is a mere animal, had so much sense of forgiveness to someone who was under it, then don't you think that I should have a similar kind of compassion? I am, after all, a human being. How can I be bad to these Rakshasas? So I will not give you permission to kill them, she says. So now, what is going to happen next? We will see in tomorrow's satsang. Sita will be taken back to Rama, and then we will see what happens there. But for today, whatever we have talked about, what can we learn? What are the deeper meanings in this which the Acharya has explained to us? So, firstly, we saw how Mandodari, she is so wise, right? She is so wise that she recognizes what is the reason for Ravana's downfall. In fact, she also says, "Shubhakrit shubh mabhap noti, papakrit papamashrute, vibhishanas sukam praptas, tvam praptah papamidrisham." She is telling Ravana, as that dead Ravana is lying there, she says, somebody who does shubha, that person gets happiness. Somebody who does good to others always gets happiness. But somebody who does a sinful act, somebody who does papa, they will only get misery in their life. That is why Vibhishana, who did the right thing, Vibhishana followed the path of dharma. He followed the right things and he has got happiness today. But you who followed the Papa Marga, you went on the Marga of Papa, you have met with an evil destiny. And she is such a jnani, she is such a great soul. She is also a Pativrata and she has so much power that she is able to see the real Swarupa of Rama. And just like all these other people who were the Virodhis, how great is this Prabhava of Rama? How great is the power of Rama? How great are his qualities that all the people who were supposed to be his opponents, right? They were his Virodhis. All those people have sung his glory. Maricha did that. Tara did that. Shur. Yeah, I'm not sure what is. I'm sorry, there was some mistake with that Zoom meeting. It just quit suddenly. Anyway, we'll continue. So, what I was saying is that the Prabhava of this Rama is so great that all the people who came to oppose him, they ended up singing his glory. Now, further, we saw that Rama, although he was very eager to meet Sita and convey the good news to her, he did not send Hanuman to with the message to Sita until Vibhishana had been crowned as king. What was the reason for that? Is it that he did not consider Sita important? No. Here the Acharyas explain to us that what is the bhava of the Lord? Why has he done something like this? So, first he's trying to convey that for him, for the Lord, always the bhakta is more important than his wife also. So he is important, he is very concerned about having Vibhishana, who is his bhakta, crowned as the king. And only then he is going to do whatever is required to be united with his wife. So that is one reason. Secondly, the Acharyas explain that when Sita was kidnapped, Ravana was the king of Lanka and he had given the order for her to be held imprisoned in Ashokvatika. Now, when Vibhishana has become the king, Rama wants that Vibhishana, as the king, should declare the order to free her from that Ashokvatika, because that is the tenet of Rajadharma. So, like this, keeping in mind the guidelines of Rajadharma, Rama has waited for Vibhishana to be crowned the king, and only after that, with Vibhishana's permission, he has sent Hanuman to Sita to convey the message and to bring her to him. This is showing us how always Rama has put the benefit of his bhaktas and the following of Rajadharma above his personal wishes. We will see that even later, but these are examples where we learn about that great nature of Rama. Now we saw that Sita, she forgave these Rakshasas, isn't it? Now, here the Acharyas explain. We saw how Rama, he was also very forgiving when Vibhishana came to him. You remember that Charama Shloka of Vibhishana? We said that Rama is saying, Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayachate Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo Dadami Etad Vratam Mama. If anybody comes just once and surrenders to me and says, I am yours, I will forgive them. So just once they have to come and surrender to me. That is what Rama told. Here the Acharyas explained that Rama is great, no doubt. He is ready to forgive. But he wants that the person should come and surrender to him and say, I am surrendering. Then only he is going to accept them, isn't it? But what about Sita? If you remember, when we talked in the previous episodes about Trijata telling about her dream, and she told that in my dream I saw that Rama and Lakshmana will come and they will win over Lanka and they will kill Ravana. Ravana will be dead, and therefore only this Sita can protect us. So we must ask Sita's protection, she had told. But nowhere in the Ramayana it is described that because Trijata told this, the Rakshasas begged Sita for forgiveness. They didn't do anything. They just listened to Trijata and they just continued their usual ways of torturing her. And yet, although they did not open their mouth and ask for forgiveness, Sita was so compassionate that she forgave them without ever being asked for forgiveness only. So here the Acharyas say that isn't it true that Sita has much more karuna than Rama? That is why always in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is so much importance given to getting on the right side of the Devi. Sita, she is Jagan Mata here, and like the eternal mother, She is always on the side of her children, whether they hit her or they shout at her, and they may not even ever beg forgiveness for their wrongdoings, but she is like a mother, always out to forgive them and to take care of them. So that shows that Sita is ready to forgive without even anybody asking for her forgiveness. So the acharyas say that this shloka that we talked about, where Sita is telling Hanuman, she's saying, Papa Namva Shubha, sorry, she's saying, Papa Namva Shubha Namva, Padarhanam Plavangama, Karyam Karunamaryena, Nakaschinna Paradhyati. This is called as Sita's Charama Shloka. We have seen what is Rama Charama Shloka. We had seen what is Krishna Charama Shloka. We saw what is Varaha Charama Shloka. And here we have the most supreme Sita's Charama Shloka, where she is ready to forgive anybody just because she feels compassionate towards them. She is not waiting for them to come and beg forgiveness. She herself will forgive all our sins. Now we saw that in that shloka, when she tells Sita is saying, all of us make mistakes. So then Hanuman is surprised. He says, what do you mean by saying all of us make mistakes? What mistake did you do? He asks. So Sita says, you know what was my mistake? Rama was with me and I had everything that I needed. But when that golden deer came there outside our ashram, I had a desire for that golden deer. When I had Rama, why did I have desire for anything else? I should not have had that desire. That was the mistake I made. Then, further, when Lakshmana refused to go behind Rama, I spoke very harshly to him. I spoke hurtful words to him in my anger, and that was another mistake that I did. Okay, so Hanuman says, fine, that was yours. Then what about Rama? What mistake did Rama do? He didn't do anything wrong. So she says, no, Rama's mistake is Lakshmana warned him that it is Mayavi, that deer, that probably it is Maricha who has come. He should have listened to Lakshmana. Why didn't he listen to Lakshmana's advice? He listened to my words. And because I wanted the deer, he went behind the deer. He didn't listen to Lakshmana. And that is what the mistake that Rama made. And she tells Hanuman that not just the two of us, Hanuman, you also have made mistake. So Hanuman is shocked and he's surprised. First of all, he's shocked when she calls him Plavangama. She says, "Oh monkey," because he has been called by many different names. He is Navavyakarana Pandita. He is having buddhi. He is called Buddhimatam Varishta. He has so many names. He is of great strength and all that. And Sita is calling him just a mere monkey. So already he was shocked. Now he is further shocked. He says, what is this, Mata? What mistake have I done? I was not even there in the picture at that time. So she says, no. Now when I am telling, this is my mistake, this is Rama's mistake, you are standing here and discussing with me, no, about other people's mistakes. That is the mistake that you have done. So in effect, what she is trying to prove is that there is nobody in this world who does not make mistakes. Therefore, anybody who does a mistake, today they have made a mistake, definitely tomorrow they are going to change. They will overcome that defect of theirs. So we must be forgiving of everybody. That is the bhava of Sita, and that is the bhava of Jagannatha. That is the bhava of Devi Mahalakshmi always. And that is why she is always there on the Vakshasthala of Sriman Narayana, waiting, because she knows that he may be angry with the wrong things that his bhaktas do sometimes, but she is there ever ready to intercede on their behalf and to make sure that he does not punish them, but that he accepts them with all their faults and follies. That is the great role of the Divine Mother. So today we have learned about this aspect of Sita. Now we are seeing her in that role as Jagannatha. We said previously that she took on the role of the Jivatma and showed us how when the Jivatma goes away from the Paramatma, running behind Maya, then she is caught up in the illusory world of Lanka. Today we have seen how the divine aspect of Sita shines through, and we have seen that divine quality of Jagannatha. So let us offer gratitude to the lotus feet of the Acharyas who have given us these wonderful Vyakhyanas, to the lotus feet of Sri Rama, and let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdhaye Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam Veda Vedanta Vedyaya Meghashyamalamurtaye Pumsam Mohana Rupaya Punyashlokaya Mangalam Pitrabhaktaya Satatam Ratrabhi Sahasitaya Nanditakhila Lokaya Ramabhadraya Mangalam Srimate Raghuviraya Setu Langita Sindhave चितराक्षसराजाय रणधीराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलाशासनपरैर् मदाचार्यपुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यैः सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्. Thank you, everybody. We'll meet again tomorrow and see what happens next. I'm sorry there was some mistake during the recording and therefore this has got split into 2 sessions. Anyway, never mind. By Lord's grace, we were at least able to see that and continue with our satsang. So we'll meet again tomorrow. Namaskar.